Hey guys, welcome back to the channel and thanks for checking out today's video. I'm a little upset, but at the end of the day, this is nowhere near as bad as it could have been. But my car did get hit this morning. It was sort of a both at fault accident, if that makes any sense. I'll explain why I think it was both of our faults in a way. It literally happened in my driveway. And what happened was I was leaving for work. I get up at 4 o'clock in the morning. I leave for work at 4:30 in the morning. So it's 4:30 a.m. I'm still half asleep. I'm running a little bit behind, so I'm in a rush to get to work. And typically what I do, my driveway sits right at the top of a hill. So if it makes sense, basically the road goes like this, drops down into a valley, and then comes back up again. And my house sits right at the top of that where it comes back up. So when you're coming from that direction, you can't even see my house or my driveway until you're like right there or you know where it's at. For me, typically in the morning when I go to work, I'll pull up to the end of the driveway and I'll look left, right, left. I'll wait a couple of seconds, make sure no one's there, and then I go. Well, what happened this morning was I pulled up to the edge of the driveway, stopped, I looked left, right, left, didn't see any cars, didn't see any headlights, and I pulled out, and that was a mistake because at some point, I mean, the guy was flying, okay? I will say that. The guy was hauling ass. And I think what happened was he was coming over this way, and when I looked left, he wasn't quite in my view yet. And when I looked right, he was probably coming over the first crest and going down. So when I looked left again, he was down where I couldn't see him, and he just slipped right through my blind spot. And I assumed it was clear to go, and I went, and there he was. And so what happened was, and the reason I say it was both of our faults is because I think he was distracted because he didn't slam on his brakes or anything until he hit me. And he could have swerved and avoided it. But what happened was I went to go forward. As soon as I started pulling out of the driveway, I saw him, jammed on my brakes, but I couldn't really do nothing. I jammed on the brakes and stopped, and he kind of like just grazed the front of my car. Another thing that kind of sucks is he wouldn't have even hit me, except he had a Honda CR-V and it was like slightly lifted, and he had big off-road tires that were like pushed out, way out. I have a picture that I found on Google, and this is exactly what his car looked like. Same color and everything. It might even be his car, I don't know. But anyways, it looked just like that, and if his wheels weren't poked out that far, he would have never even hit me. But he came across the front of my car and hit my bumper and my lip. And it's 4:30 in the morning, so he stopped. I didn't think he was going to stop because he definitely could have just kept going, but he stopped, pulled off to the side of the road, and he got out with a flashlight, was looking over his car. I got out, was looking over my car. It was dark out. It's 4:30 in the morning. I can't see anything. The front of my car is covered in bug guts, so I'm looking. I didn't see anything. I was like, I don't even know what happened because I felt a slight impact, but I couldn't see anything. So he looked over it. I was like, listen, I don't see anything. If you don't see anything, we're good, whatever. So guy's like, all right, cool. So he leaves. I get back in my car. I get to work. I get on my lunch break at work, and I see what I'm about to show you. Again, it's not the end of the world. It could be a lot worse. So surprisingly enough, he didn't hit anything on the front driver's side. I believe I had my wheel turned, so my front passenger side was sticking out slightly further, and that's where he caught me at. And I didn't even see it until a coworker of mine pointed it out, and here it is. So this right here is just from his tire. Now, it looks like he may have taken paint off the bumper here. I'll have to figure that out. It looks like this might be down to plastic here, which is a bummer, but all this here looks like it's just rubber transfer, and it should wipe off. This might also be rubber transfer, but I don't think it is. I think that's burnt through the plastic. We'll see. I'll have to try and get that off with a buffer and see what happens, but you can see there what it did. Thankfully, it wasn't enough force to like push the bumper in. I don't think it actually like damaged or dented the bumper in any way, shape, or form. Also, it damaged my Flow Design splitter a little bit, which this blows my mind because my splitter sticks out a lot more than my bumper does. So he had to have caught my splitter, and this is what blows my mind is there's tire marks on my bumper, there's tire marks on my lower trim here, and there's like nothing on the splitter. There's a little bit of like scrapage here. But I don't understand what happened because if he hit my splitter, that would have like pushed him away, and none of this would have even happened to my car. But you can see there's a little bit here also. So I think what kind of maybe happened was he like ran over my splitter. I mean, I know that sounds impossible, but I don't know what happened. What I do know is underneath the splitter right here, I don't know if you can see that or not, but it actually pulled down. So there was a washer on the top side of the splitter, and it actually ripped the bumper and pulled the entire hardware down through. So there you can see the splitter is no longer attached here how it should be. We have this panel damaged right here, which that's fine because at some point I want to get the JDM fog light bezels anyway with the gloss black trim and the LED. So that's fine. I don't care that this is damaged. This here, I don't know if this will come out or not. I doubt it will. I think that's just going to be damaged, but because it's like flat black, it's not super noticeable. After I wash the car and I clean that up a little bit, it might not be as noticeable. This here is the main concern. So we'll see. I'm going to try and get this stuff off today, but as you can see, the front end of my car is completely covered in bugs and dirt. So I'm going to wash the car really quick, and then that'll give me a better idea of what I'm looking at, and hopefully I can clean this up and get it fixed, or at least make it look better for now. Okay, so I just got done washing the car off. Just a quick little wash because it's gonna rain later anyways. The first thing I'm gonna try here is just some quick detailer. I'm gonna scrub this with a microfiber and see if we can get any of this off. I don't even think that's gonna be an option. So I'll skip that step and go straight to Goo Gone. So Goo Gone typically will take stuff like this off. So I'm gonna soak this microfiber towel in the Goo Gone, and then I'm going to just kind of rub it over the rubber. If this doesn't work, I have a eraser wheel I will try. Oh, that's not through the paint. That is so nice. That is not through the paint, guys. I don't think it is. If that's not through the paint at all, that is insane that a tire came by, hit my car at 50 plus miles an hour and didn't damage it. That would be very surprising. So I'm gonna break out my mini buffer and hit that with my mini buffer. I'll show you guys what I'm using, see if that gets it out before I go with the eraser wheel, because the eraser wheel is a little more aggressive, and on plastic, I just worry about it damaging it. This probably isn't the best product to use for this situation. I love Chemical Guys. The VSS is great stuff to get out swirls and scratches and everything, you know, minor paint defects in the paintwork, but using it to get rid of rubber, I don't know if it'll work. But I'm using a blue pad here, a little AC Delco mini buffer. If this doesn't work, I'll have to break out an eraser wheel. And if you guys don't know what that is, it's basically a piece of rubber that goes on your drill, and it takes off foreign substances such as sticker residue, rubber, etc. If this was on my paint on the metal part of my car, I would probably go ahead and try that already. But I'm worried about these edges and stuff. I don't want to get this very hot. It's like 96 degrees today. The car is already hot from sitting in the sun and everything else, so I don't want to damage it. If this works, this is what I will do. So I'm gonna hit this with the buffer. And I think that's gonna do the trick, actually. Even though this is swirl and scratch remover, this will probably leave behind swirls because I use an orbital buffer. So now I'll take this pad by hand and actually just go back and forth like this, and that'll take out any swirl marks. There's a little tiny chip of paint missing there, but I think that's probably a stone chip. Besides that, it looks like the rest of this came out. So we have no permanent paint damage. We have no dent or scratch left in the surface. I am very surprised by this and very relieved because I had no intention at all, whether this came out or not, of contacting my insurance company and dealing with that, because the insurance company, I know a lot of people are going to comment that. They're probably not even going to watch this part of the video, and they're going to be like, oh, you should have just called insurance and been done with it. Well, the problem is you call insurance, well, what happens? Well, you got to pay your deductible, your insurance goes up, et cetera, and oh, well, you could just file a deductible and then they'll give you a check and you could use that money for car parts or whatever. Well, like, listen, I just want my car fixed. I want it to look good. I don't want to deal with insurance because my insurance will go up, and I don't want to deal with that right now. So there is some buffing compound behind my tow hook cover. I might have to pop that off and get in there just so you guys can see that that did all come off and there is no actual damage to the bumper. That blows my mind, guys. It really does. But there you can see it. I mean, you saw it before. It's gone now. Awesome. So the only thing that we have left is this scratch here, which kind of blends in. It's not super noticeable, but then down here, it's hard to tell because all this is still kind of wet, but this was a little scraped up. So I'm gonna hit that with my mini buffer and see if I can't kind of like pull something out of that plastic a little bit because you can kind of see like the scuff marks in it. Besides that, the Flow Designs front splitter isn't in terrible shape. I don't think it really got damaged much. The problem I'll have with my splitter now is I will have to repair that section under the bumper. So I'm actually gonna be taking my bumper off probably next weekend, or for you guys, it'll be this upcoming weekend. So probably from the time that you see this video, it'll be a week or so till you see that. But I'll be taking my bumper off to do a couple of things. It's probably pointless to plastic weld that. What I'll do is I'll probably go to like Home Depot or something, get like a piece of sheet metal, I don't know, and then drill a hole through it and use that for support so it has more, it can grab onto the bumper more, because I really don't know what else to do. Thankfully, the damage is here on this panel and this panel, which both of these are completely replaceable, and this can all come separate from the bumper. So I can take this off and replace just this panel. I'm sure it's still expensive as hell from OEM, but that option is there. I've also seen some carbon fiber overlays and stuff like that, but I'm not gonna do all that. All right, so there we go. I'm just gonna hit this, see what happens. I'm sure that looks better in the camera, but it really doesn't look much better in person. It is just flat black plastic. It's not super noticeable, and at the end of the day, it's pretty easily replaceable. Well, guys, I'm gonna be honest, and I think that if I didn't show you the damage or tell you what happened, you would never know. Anyone walking up to my car and just looking at it is never gonna know that it was hit there. It looks almost completely fine. So I'll be completely honest, I think the Flow Design splitter kit and the flat black trim saved the rest of it. So I think that, I guarantee that splitter probably took most of the impact and maybe even pushed the tire away a little bit from hitting the bumper, and that's why it didn't dig into the paint. Thankfully, the rim wasn't like poking out and it was just the tire, but at the end of the day, it's fixed. Well, guys, that's gonna be it for today's video. I will definitely be a little more careful now whenever I'm exiting my driveway, and I will not deviate away from my safety process again. But that's going to be it for today's video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed, and if you have a similar situation, hopefully this will help you. I know I didn't use anything fancy, but just kind of a little vlog explaining what happened, because I was very upset for a little bit. But thankfully it all came out. It all worked out good, so I'm fortunate for that. I'll see you guys in the next video.